Alright, in this video I'm going to show you LanguageTool integration with Emacs. Is very ordinary. Okay, so basically the purpose of this integration is to find out the grammar mistake, the punctuation mistake, the all these related nifty stuff which we probably take advantage of other third-party tool outside Emacs. The whole and sole purpose of this integration is to that you don't have to go out of Emacs to find out the tool to do all this stuff. You can do it right inside Emacs. Okay, so I'm repeating again before starting. The purpose of this language tool is to correct the grammatical mistake and other punctuation related mistakes. If you are into writing or do a lot of other stuff, this tool might come in handy. Oh, heads up, I have done a language tool stuff on Vim before. You can go back to the channel and find out that video. This video is exclusively for Emacs language tool integration in Emacs. Okay, so without further ado, let me get into my Emacs, and if I open a random file just for this demonstration, which I have. Okay, so I have already integrated the language tool with Emacs. Okay, so I will show you how you could do that later once I give you the initial demonstration of this purpose. I have bounded some key as per the instruction of the language tool author. So my keys are reside somewhere which probably different to you. So we'll discuss it later. So here I'm in a file. I have intentionally crept some mistake in it. Okay, so I want the language tool to detect it for me, because when you write something, we intentionally probably left some mistake or something to left out. So the language tool is for to catch those stuff before you finally submitting the stuff. Okay, so to invoke the language tool, we have to have I have a keybind Control X4 and you can see L. If I press that, it activates the language tool. Okay, now give it a moment. So if I come here and see, now it took some time, so it shows you where the problem is. Okay, so if I put it here on the cup, I put my cursor on the red mark stuff, you can see there is a pop-up come up with a suggestion that possible spelling mistake found. Suggestion the actively effectively the right spelling for that particular. Likewise, if you go to the next, you can, I know you can do the spell check in Emacs. I have shown it before in my other video, but here is something which spell check might not correct. Okay, so let's see, these are the some sort of styling error, grammatical error. Okay, so I put a lot of space after the period, right? So if there is a sentence construction mistake, now if I do make a mistake here, so how about this? Does it catch up? I'm doing it live, so Oh, okay. So it's processing behind the scene, so that's why it's throwing a C. So it catch up the error. Okay, so basically now you can easily correct it by Control X for C. If we look at the bottom, it says if I wanted to change it, right? So basically if I go to the other pane, and so okay, so if I do Control X for C, Control X for L to activate the language tool. Control X for C. I press 0. If I press 0, you can see on the bottom buffer it prompting me. If I say 0, and see, it corrected all the mistake I had made intentionally in that particular. It's simple. It will provide you another buffer, and it will give you the keystroke to correct it. I'm hoping you are following it, right? So to invoke it, I have bounded a key Control X W for L, which is to invoke the language tool. Okay, and to correct the buffer, Control X for C, which is where I bounded the key. You could have bound the key in different location. Okay, so this is a tool which will correct your grammatical, syntactical, or stylish mistake in a document. It's very neat. Okay, now where do you get it? Okay, so let me show you list packages. It might have patience, it might take a little time to pop up because I'm on a slow old machine, so its horsepower are pretty low, so that's why everything takes a little more time than your expectation. It's still loading until it's fully loaded. I cannot do anything, otherwise it might hang. So basic purpose of this language tool is to correct the mistakes, not only the spelling mistakes, but also the grammatical mistakes in a sentence, punctuation related mistakes in a sentence. You can do the entire buffer checked by the language tool. This tool has a dependency on Java, so you have to have Java installed, JDK JRE installed beforehand, because these tools behind the scene use Java. Okay, so I'll show you what is the configuration look like in my .emacs in a moment. Let me finish it up because lots of packages it is loading. so it might take a little bit of time, so have patience. So I'm doing this commentary just to keep you engaged for the things. Okay, so let me okay, so LanguaTool, this these things you need to see. This is the one you are supposed to install. Okay, so you can see on the right hand side buffer, this tool has to be installed inside Emacs. You can get it like the normal way, meta p, to get the package install and install the LanguaTool inside Emacs, and on outside you are supposed to install the JDK. Okay, because this tool dependent on Java, I'm saying it again, so you have to have Java installed in your system to get this tool working. Okay, and you have to install LanguaTool to install inside Emacs. Okay, by Emacs package installation method. Okay, so as you can see on the right hand side, okay, so it also mentioned you have to install Java too. All right, so but it has to have some entry in the .emacs file, which I'll show you in a moment. As you can see, if I go here, and it will clearly suggested that this entries has to be in the Java, where you need to tell LanguageTool command line .jar has to be defined where you installed the LanguageTool in system. Okay, then you was either supposed to provide the Java class path or the Java binary, or in some specific cases in LanguageTool itself, if the distros bind that kind of way. So I'm giving you the demonstration on Slackware. I'm sitting on Slackware, so I do not have to install LanguageTool. If you are on Gentoo, so you are supposed to install, because Gentoo has got that tool, which is nothing but all Java related stuff. Okay, so you need to set your Java environment properly in your system to make this tool work properly. Okay, so it has got a HTTP server and HTTP client. If you are inclined to use that kind of stuff in a machine where you are the sole user or have maximum 2-3 user, because more than that there might be some performance issue, then you have to tweak other stuff too. So, and these are the keybind I have with a little change. So as the author suggested, I put in the right place but with a little change of key. And this is how you need to get this tool, and you need to provide the command line tool. This is also very important, to set the argument to call up the jar file. Okay, so you have to use the UTF-8 stuff to get things going. Okay, so it has a little bit of involvement before you start using it. As you can see, you can call it from the Emacs prompt. Okay, with an universal argument preceded with that. I don't bother to, because I have a dedicated keybind for that, so I tried those instead of going through all these keys. I do it at once by pressing a single mouse key, and this is for the pop-up. I just took it out and put it in my .emacs file, as the author mentioned. Sometime following the author tools, author documentary, if they are sane enough and done it described clearly, it will help you and save you a lot of time scratching your head. So this is one of them. So without fuss, it started to work for me. But anyway, this tool requires some sort of engagement before you start using it. So these configuration are pretty optional, but I think you should spend time to understand and find out and figure out where your Java installation is, how your environment related to that, and all this stuff. This is a bloody good tool. If you installed it properly, it can help you immensely. If you do a lot of stuff, writing and all this stuff, you don't have to go out of Emacs, so you can do any standard stuff like we do all the time, going out of it and take an external tools advantage on the web. So instead of that, you can do that right inside Emacs. Okay, so let me show you what is my .emacs file contains. Or you can, I'm showing it here, you can also take a pic on my .emacs file in GitHub in a .file repo of mine. Okay, so so here is the stuff. Here's the stuff. I don't want you to get distracted, so this is the stuff you are supposed to have in your .emacs file. See, I have installed LanguageTool by tar, getting the tar and extracted it, because as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, that I did a LanguageTool stuff for Vim, so I needed this tool to work well with Vim, which I have made a video. If you can go back and check my channel to find out that video, it's not too long ago, so you can easily find it out. Okay, so as it is mentioned, required lang tool, that means you were supposed to install the lang tool in Emacs. Okay, as I mentioned you before. So these are the keybind. I little modified because I wanted to give the keystroke as memorable as possible, as I mentioned it over again and again and again. So I try to give my keystroke as human friendly and possible to remember. So I change this a little bit, and I keep the extension, I mean the keycode location same, Control X4, then this. So once you done the checking, you are supposed to take away the LanguageTool mark by Control X4D. So which you should do once the checking is done. To start the LanguageTool, you have to do Control X4L. Okay, this prefixes key could be different. This is the author provided key. Author suggested it, so I followed it bluntly, and it works for me. You could change it according to your convenience. Okay, so you can change the message at prompt. You can correct the buffer, which I have shown to you. Once you start the LanguageTool to on a specific document, you need to call up that language correct buffer on that particular buffer where you are in. Okay, so you need to specify. These are optional, but I make it mandatory stuff. So you have to provide your language, which language you want to make the correction for grammar and other stuff. This is the command line stuff, whatever the author mentioned, encoding UTF-8, you should mention it also. And you need to provide the location of, because Java implementation on different distros located in different places. As I mentioned, right now I'm in Slackware. The Java resides here, Java binary, and I haven't made the effort to move it to another location. It could have been easily done, so I didn't bother to but take the default location. So I have to mention the clear path where the Java binary is, so it makes the tool find it Java related stuff. Otherwise it's a common error if it not find the Java binary or Java related stuff. It will throw libjava.so, which is a dynamic library, not found. Okay, if your Java environment is not set properly for this particular tool, chances are high you'll get an error which says libjava.so is not found. That means your Java binary is not able to find by this particular tool. Okay, so you need to correct it that, as I mentioned, this tool requires a little bit of involvement beforehand to use it properly and efficiently. Okay, now then the pop-up message you see the pop-up message where you put your cursor and it mark, and it will show you the suggestion, it will show you what you are supposed to correct, right? So with the help of the pop-up message, this is the stuff you need to do. Okay, so it automatically this two line will automatically show the pop-up which you have seen. Let me try one more time if I can find it. So I have already corrected it, so it will not show up the pop-up stuff. Okay, so what I'm trying to say, this stanza has to be inside your, and this stanza is mentioned in the if you find out, let me find out for you. Control XP, where the packages are not here. So if I come here, and here is the place where you can get it. Here is the place. Let me open it. Okay. So I'll come back here when it is open. So to get it. So this is in brief a nice tool to have, because I do need it. I integrated it with Vim. I now integrated with Emacs, and it will be help to use this tool, because I used to write a lot of stuff also side by side. So, and I used to go out and do the checking on the web on different sites until I integrated with Vim. So I started to use it on Vim. I still do, but now I do a lot of my blogging inside Emacs. So this tool might come handy. So this is the place in GitHub where you can get it. Okay, so this is how clearly mentioned, which I have followed thoroughly. Okay, and the usage also mentioned how you can do so. If you spend a little bit of time on this particular GitHub page, it always good to have good to spend time if you decided to take advantage on something, because you come to know about the nitty-gritty details of it. Okay, so the more you come to know about it, it will be easier for you to operate on. Okay, so in brief, this is LanguageTool on Emacs to help you correct the grammatical mistake, punctuation mistake, styling mistake, the basic stuff of doing thing correct inside Emacs. Okay, so I hope it will be useful